Hi, I'm Deborah Mintz. I'm the Executive Director of the Arts Council, and this is True to Yourself with Boris Kodjoe.
We have a Renaissance man who's going to put it all in perspective for us tonight. Boris Kodjoe, supermodel, actor on the big and small screen, men's clothing designer and fashion icon, philanthropist. Thanks to the vision of the Arts Council of Fayetteville, Cumberland County, we're here this evening. Thanks to their partners, Piedmont Natural Gas. Thanks to Fayetteville State University and Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council and Fayetteville Cumberland Parks and Recreation, we can all be inspired tonight and feel free to open the dialogue with Boris Kodjoe. Thank you also to Carolina Vascular Institute, Lumbee River EMC, WRAL, the Finch Connection LLC, and Cadillac of Fayetteville. Let's give them all a round of applause. Our celebration of Black History Month has also included a unique educational component. Youth Talk with casting director Winsome Sinclair. She was with us last year. She's here with us tonight. Would you please stand and be recognized at this time? Welcome back. We'd also like to thank the partners of the Youth Talk, Fayetteville Cumberland County, Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council, and attorney Sherry E. Miller for making that possible last night. Let's give them a round of applause. Tonight's event was conceived by the Arts Council's Director of Development, Unique Webster. Unique, where are you? Let's give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, it takes an entire team of board, staff, and volunteers to pull it all together, including the Arts Council's Black History Month Committee, led by Chair Attorney Cole Jordan. Please welcome him to the podium at this time.
Good evening and welcome. Last year, the Arts Council began what is now an annual Black History Month event titled True to Yourself, a talk series. The brainchild of Unique Webster, the idea was to bring in notable Black celebrities from the worlds of art, music, television, and film so that they could share their stories and their journey with you. Many man-hours went into putting this event together. At this time, I would like to recognize some of the individuals that helped do that. Miss Deborah Martin Mintz, the astounding executive director of the Arts Council, assembled a very talented crew and staff. If you want to know how intelligent someone is, one of the things that you should look at is who they surround themselves with. What people do they have around them? And I must say that Deborah has a top-notch crew. I have never worked with a crew as efficient as the staff at the Arts Council. At this time, if you are a staff member, if you were a committee member of the Black History Month Committee, or if you are a member of the Board of Trustees, please stand and be recognized. And I must say a very special thanks goes to Unique Webster once again. She is the mastermind behind this event. Without her, none of this would have been possible. Give her a round of applause as well. All right, I know you're ready for me to get off the stage. You guys are going to have a good time. You all look great. Enjoy.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. And thank you to the committee and the staff of the Arts Council. It does take a large team to pull off an event like this, and we can't say thank you enough. Let's give them another round of applause. It's going to be a great night. So on behalf of the Arts Council with Piedmont Natural Gas, thank you again for joining us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to County Commissioner Charles Evans.
Good evening, and welcome to the J.W. Seabrook Auditorium here at historic Fayetteville State University for True to Yourself, a Black History Month talk series presented by the Arts Council with Piedmont Natural Gas. I bring you heartfelt greetings from my fellow Cumberland County Commissioners, and we wish to thank the Fayetteville-Cumberland County Arts Council for their work in bringing the arts to our community and celebrating diversity throughout the year in every corner of our county. We are also grateful for the corporate sponsors like Piedmont Natural Gas for investing in our community. Thank you for helping to bring programs like this to our residents. I am honored to be here for this important initiative that looks at diversity in the arts and to hear the personal and powerful story of Mr. Boris Kodjoe. This is an exciting opportunity to learn about your experiences in the entertainment industry over the years and how those experiences shaped you into the actor and entertainer we see on TV. We hope you will find Cumberland County warm and welcoming. I urge everyone here this evening to continue to celebrate the arts, our diversity, and sense of community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please let's give a warm, artistic welcome to my friend and our mayor of this good city, Mr. Mitch Colvin.
Well, good evening. Who's excited about tonight, huh? Absolutely. Well, certainly on behalf of the Fayetteville City Council, and it's my privilege on behalf of the 208,000 citizens of this great city, but more importantly, the 103,589 ladies of this city, it is my privilege to welcome our dear brother, Brother Boris, to our city, right? But certainly as we celebrate Black History Month, as we celebrate the diversity and inclusion of our city, truly it's an honor and a privilege to partner with the Fayetteville-Cumberland County Arts Council, with Fayetteville State University, one of our greatest assets. But tonight we are continuing to bring cultural and arts to our city and continue to increase the quality of life. So what an honor and a privilege, and I'm sure you all will have a great time. So God bless.
Again, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's give him another round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, the Arts Council is proud to partner with Piedmont Natural Gas on this venture. Please help me welcome Community Relations Manager Tammy Thurman.
Really? So how many times have you heard Piedmont Natural Gas tonight? Yeah. So good evening. I am Tammy Thurman, Community Relations Manager for Piedmont Natural Gas. One more time. More importantly, I am your Community Relations Manager. And because of your overwhelming support to last year's event, we are proud to partner once again and help bring the True to Yourself talk series featuring Boris Kodjoe. That's right. Congratulations to Unique Webster and the entire Arts Council for building this sustainable event for our great city. To all of you sitting in the audience, I say thank you for letting Piedmont Natural Gas know that this super amazing event is important to you. Enjoy your special evening.
Thank you, Ms. Thurman. Again, let's give a round of applause to Piedmont Natural Gas who helped make this evening possible. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the moderator of the evening, the esteemed judge, the Honorable Tony King.
Ooh, there's a lot of people out here. Good evening, and thank you for coming tonight. It is my great pleasure to welcome my next guest. You have seen him on Soul Food, you've seen him on Station 19, Real Husbands of Hollywood, and so many more credits to his name. I've had a chance to spend a little bit of time with him today, and he is an amazing person, easygoing, and just as nice as can be. So without further ado, I'd like you to watch the reel today on some of his works, and then we'll bring out our honorary guests. He's flown all the way from LA after filming till 3 a.m. this morning, catching a flight. He did not sleep. As you all can tell, what you would do on a plane, as much sleep as you can get. Literally going to the meet and greet and then coming here. And so it was important enough for him to be here and to celebrate this time with us. So we certainly want to do him justice and just show some of the things that he's accomplished and that he continues to accomplish in our society, as well as our film and arts industry. So I'm going to introduce Boris Kodjoe.
Hey. How's everybody? Thank you, Don. Hey. This is beautiful. All right. Security. Wow, look at that. Good to see everybody. Can we put the house lights on for a second? There you go. All right. Good to see you guys. Nice.
Now, Boris, I told you we had to send a shout out to the AKAs.
Okay.
AKA sisters.
That's beautiful. I never understood that. You know, being from Germany, there's some of these cultural things. With the finger, and I just applaud you for that. Good job. And the guys with the right? That's right. There we go. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Everybody's here.
He knows. Well, welcome to Fayetteville.
Thank you so much. Amazing.
I told him the flight that you took to get here this morning.
Yeah.
Although he looks great, doesn't he, ladies?
That's very kind of you.
Just kind of rolling into it, we want to go around with some background.
Background.
You are German,
That's right.
and your dad is Ghanaian.
Ghanaian, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
You speak 4 languages.
Yeah.
And which ones are those?
German is my mother tongue.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Ich spreche Deutsch, ja. Und du bist in Deutschland auch hast in Deutschland gewohnt, oder?
That's all.
See, don't start nothing that you can't finish. I thought we were going to do the whole interview in German.
Stay on script.
Du kannst auch Deutsch sprechen. Echt? Woher, aus welcher Stadt? Schweinfurt. Schweinfurt, okay. Super.
She said she's from Schweinfurt. I got that.
Very good. See, don't try now. Don't try to butt in now. You had your chance. Struck out.
I get a redo.
Yeah, French, English a little bit, and then Spanish. Bien, gracias. ¿Y tú? Mucho gusto.
Oh, we're going to be here all night if I let you talk to the lady.
What did you say? What did you say? Ouais, je parle français aussi, ouais. Quoi? Et tu viens d'où? Ouais, je sais, hein, c'est anglais ça. Ouais. All right.
All right, ladies, calm down. And of course, you are married to the...
No violence, please. No violence. Don't hit each other. Don't hit her on the head. That's not healthy.
Oh, I got to reel you all in.
Unruly.
You are married to the beautiful Nicole Ari Parker.
Yes.
And you have 2 children, Nicholas and Sophie.
Yeah.
And we talked about this earlier, you went to Virginia Commonwealth, and you have a degree in marketing.
That's right.
Correct? All right. And something that may be a fun fact is that you are a noted tennis player.
Well, the older I get, the better it used to be. But there was a time when I was very, very good, yes.
Actually, scholarship, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Well, as an actor and as a celebrity, share with the audience as far as what is one of the misconceptions that people have about you?
Wow. I guess a lot of people don't know that I'm of mixed heritage. They assume I'm American. When, as you mentioned, I'm Afro-German. My father's from Ghana, which is in West Africa, and my mother's from Germany. And I was born in Austria, which is a country just below Germany, and was raised in Germany. And I came here when I was 19. So when I first came here, I didn't know how to speak English, and which was quite a challenge, as you can imagine. There was the culture shock, there was a different mentality, different language, and I think the only things I really could say was thank you and you're welcome when I first got here, so I kept it simple. And thank you and welcome is pretty effective because it usually solicits a favorable response. You know, it yields a smile or something of kind nature. The problem was that at VCU, the girls found out pretty quickly that I couldn't understand them. So they would run up and hug me and start telling me these random, foul, perverted things. Because they knew I wouldn't understand them. So they would hug me and they go, oh my, Boris, I want to, blah, 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 blah. And I would just look at them and say, thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. So that was my first 3-4 months at school.
All right. And so you got into the acting area, and you play a lot of characters. What characters would you say that you played that are most closely resembling to who you are?
Well, I think as an actor, you try to infuse characters with personal traits to make them real, to make them authentic. So, you know, any character I've ever played, I always try to bring something to the table that is of my experience, something I could associate with and relate to, whether that's, you know, the character in Brown Sugar who was a basketball player, or, you know, even my character in Soul Food, there was a lot of things that the writers picked up after a while. He spoke, you know, German. He had a German mother, so that was something that was very close. But I think as an actor in general, you really try your hardest to infuse some really intimate and personal things. I know you hear actors sometimes talk about how they become another person, which I think is a bunch of baloney. Because it's impossible, unless you're schizophrenic. But I do think that you can identify with the character as much as possible in order to make that character come alive and be real.
And so what would you describe as your most satisfying or least satisfying role?
You know, every role has a purpose. And that's not just for the isolated experience of making that movie or that TV show. I always look at my life, the journey that I'm on, and characters are significant at certain points in my life and in chapters of my life. So every single character that I've played, I associate with certain memories I had during that time. I remember shooting The Gospel, and my daughter was about to be born. So Nicole was pregnant, like 8.5 months pregnant. So I knew that the baby was going to come. We lived in LA, but I was shooting in Atlanta. So Sony, who was the distributing studio of the film, I had built into my contract that as soon as I heard that she was in labor, I could jump on a plane and be gone. And they would, you know, shut down for 3 days, and then I would come back. But they wouldn't pay me before because they were scared that I wasn't going to come back. So I had to defer my pay, and everybody knew about it, and then I got the call in the middle of the night that she was in labor, and I jumped and I went to the airport, and everybody at the airport was waving and cheering me on as I was running to the plane because they knew that the baby was coming. So that movie, to me, is a very special film because we were having Sophie around that time.
Can we do that together?
Yeah.
And one of the things I noticed that you just recently went skiing with your family.
Yeah, like you illustrated so well. Hello. Ah. Well done. Yeah, we were at Sundance, the film festival. I took both of my kids with me because they're avid skiers, and so we spent 3 days on the slopes. I had a couple of meetings, and it's always a great time. I put them on skis when they were 2 years old, so they love getting into the mountains, and it was a good time.
Now, one of your characters, Dr. Campbell, in Code Black, there was an episode where his daughter was being treated for a seizure that was caused by spina bifida. Now, that hits very close to home.
Yeah, that was also a great experience because the writers came to me and said, look, we want to introduce the private life of Dr. Campbell. What are you thinking? And I said, hey, I think she should have a special needs child. Representation is very important. And I'm not just talking about, black representation. I'm talking about representation of marginalized members of our community. And the special needs community is part of that. And the effect of a movie or a TV show that represents that or those groups of people, like what happened last year with Wakanda, it's a huge deal. So whenever I'm part of a movie or TV show, I always try to give people a chance to represent. And this was a chance to tell a story that, yes, it struck home. It was a very personal story, but also it served a greater purpose. It showed people that kids with these challenges live high quality, fulfilled, beautiful lives, which we usually don't see. So I made sure that in the script it was represented the right way because I knew I had a responsibility to represent that group, and I think we did a good job.
Now, you and your wife have worked on several projects together. You did a live show where your fans guided you through Uber Where You Go. And most recently, I think I saw you all doing a lip sync battle.
Oh, my God.
You donned.
What? I can't hear you. What did you say? I can't hear you. I got robbed, by the way. If you saw it, I got robbed.
But you all have worked on a lot of projects, and being both actors in this industry, how do you all balance marriage, not being jealous of one another, and still maintaining that equal balance with family?
Jealousy?
Okay.
No, I'm asking. Is it?
But right. How do you not have the jealousy?
But because of what?
Good answer.
No, I mean, what or who or what should I be jealous of? No, I don't know. I'm blessed. I'm super lucky to be with her, and there's no balance. There isn't. It's priorities. We put each other first, and we put our kids first. So there's really no need to balance anything, because when you prioritize that way, when you put first what empowers you, what fortifies you, what feeds you, what loves you unconditionally, then everything around that falls into place automatically. There's no need to juggle or balance anything, because I'm focused completely on these three people. And when something appears, I take a look and I ask myself, does it fit into the picture? And if it does, it'll be successful. And if it doesn't, I don't have time for it.
Have you found a time in your career to this point that you've been most satisfied, or you haven't reached that point yet?
That's a good one. I challenged her. I said, look, if you can ask me questions I've never heard before, kudos. So no, this is a really good question because I guess it's a question of how you define success. Because for me, success is a process. It's not a destination. It's a journey. It's an experience with highs and lows. And it's the relationships that you build on that journey that make up your legacy. Because there's an ancient proverb that says, you are alive until the last person says your name. And I think that you have a responsibility to use the platform that you enjoy, not just for the perks, but also to affect positive change, to touch people, to inspire people. I'm very much aware of that responsibility. So to me, coming from where I came from, going through what I've been through, I'm already winning. I really don't focus on specific trophies or acknowledgments, awards, or anything to define who I am. I'm already pretty whole the way I am and blessed.
In recent news, celebrities, politicians have come under fire for their past actions or their past statements. What is the best way? We talked about the Oscars and not having a host, but what do you believe is the best way to handle those situations that they come about?
You know, everybody's human. Everybody makes mistakes. The unfortunate situation is that through social media and the internet, one's voice has been automatically amplified to an nth degree, which then gives you an exponentially bigger reach, but also an exponentially bigger responsibility. And unfortunately, social media also has given people a voice that shouldn't have a voice. And these people, unfortunately, are able to make news. And I believe in second chances. I believe in reaching out to those who have fallen and who need our help. But I've also recently have seen people who, in my opinion, are beyond redemption because they've hurt our most vulnerable and innocent. And being a father, I have a really, really, really hard time forgiving some of these, I don't want to say misstep because it wasn't a misstep, so some of these atrocities, what is it? Atrocity, thank you. Yeah, I just try to remind people to be mindful of what they're saying and what they put out into the universe, because social media is such a powerful tool. It can be very detrimental at the same time. So my kids don't have cell phones, and I try to keep them away from social media completely. They don't do anything in terms of social media, because I don't think that kids are equipped to handle an onslaught of constant scrutiny and judgment and bullying and rejections and negativity. And you know, they're so fragile still. Their brains not even developed yet fully. So to subject them to these kind of images and is just, me as a father, I feel responsible to keep them away from that.
Now, how would you describe the culture in Hollywood? Who do you see thriving and who do you see that don't do so well?
culture is a strong word for Hollywood. It's funny because Hollywood is being looked at as a creative place, but it's not. You know, it's called show business. It's not called show art. And a lot of artists, a lot of actors, writers, directors, who are looking to make it, they're completely ill-prepared for Hollywood because they're expecting this ecosystem of synergy and creative juices and collaboration, and it's not like that at all. It's a shark tank, and full of people who want to take advantage of you and who want to suck you dry and exploit you. Obviously, it's a generalization, okay? There's some great people out there. But I always try to appeal to those who are coming after us and who coming behind us and want to step into that, on that stage, is you have to educate yourself about the business. Not just about the craft, but you have to really inform yourself about how this business is run. You know, it's about supply and demand. It's about ratings. It's about impressions. It's about the bottom line. So the more you can do to prepare yourself for that, the business aspect, the more you can do to educate yourself, get a law degree, get a business degree. The more you can do to acquire a more three-dimensional perspective on show business, on Hollywood, the more resilient you will be, the more prepared you will be, the more successful you will be.
Now, those individuals that came before you that you saw were really great at it, what differentiated the ones that were really great at it from the ones that were just good at it?
Luck. Luck.
Has there ever been a role that you regret turning down?
No. Because everything happens for a reason. I had the opportunity to be on Game of Thrones. But look, they wanted me to move to Scotland for 10 months out of the year. I have 2 kids. Come on. Actually, a friend of mine who's a very famous actor told me a story once. He did all these big movies back to back, and he came home after being gone for 6 months. And he walked through the door, and he, you know, when the father comes home, we expect a daddy parade, right? So he comes home, and he throws his bags down and said, "Hey, I'm home." And his daughter walked down the stairs and sees him and goes, "Whatever," and walked away. No, that was heartbreaking. And I never forgot that. And nobody cares about Game of Thrones in 20 years. But that relationship with my kids in 20 years depends on what I did these past 5, 6 years. So, no regrets.
Now, you attribute Sidney Poitier with giving you the best advice in your career. Can you share that with us?
Yes, it was just his birthday. Happy birthday, Sid. Amazing human being. I had the fortune to meet a few of really incredible icons of our time. He being one of them. I also got a chance to be on Broadway with James Earl Jones, and I got a chance to meet Harry Belafonte as well. And those are just 3 of our treasures, right? 3 men who have inspired us for decades, who have influenced the way we think. And yeah, Sidney, one time he said to me, treat every fan like he's your boss. And I thought it was genius, because if it wasn't for your fans, where would you be, right? Fans, they buy you movie tickets, they tune in the TV to see you, and so, and he said that to me early on in my career, which I treasure to this day because it really impacted how I feel about the whole celebrity thing and fame.
True to yourself, when we think of it, obviously our heritage is important. You once said that you wanted to feel connected to Ghana. That was your place. How do you honor both of your heritages?
I honor both of my heritages by walking tall and by embracing the responsibility I have to honor those who have come before me, which was very apparent in our last journey to Ghana a couple of months ago. We went to Accra for a week, and we brought a bunch of our friends with us to experience the country, the culture, the people, the food, the music. The nightlife is incredible, and reconnect with their ancestry and their emotional heritage. And we retraced the steps of our forefathers, and we went to the slave castles, and we did the canopy walk, and we visited the Akwamu kingdom and had an audience with the king. And so our impetus to do that was to change the narrative about Ghana, about Africa as a whole, really, because we've been told lies for decades about Africa, because Western industrialized nations don't want us to go back to Africa, because Africa is so rich in resources, so rich in human resource, that they don't want any competition while they're exploiting the country, the continent. So they've been telling us lies, constantly lies about Africa, how dangerous it is, and disease, and famine, and mass exodus to Europe, and wars, that a lot of African Americans have stayed away and have been ill-informed and undereducated about Africa. And I wanted to change the narrative, and I wanted to try and get more people to understand that this is actually where we all came from. And this is where we get our strength from. This is where we get our culture from. You know, everybody in this room is a descendant of a survivor. And not of slaves, but of enslaved Africans. It's a big difference. So we went over there to try and change how people think about Africa, and show how incredible it is, and how culturally diverse it is, and how fruitful it is, and how much economic development there is, and investment opportunities, and all these things. And the result was that everybody who came back had a completely changed idea of self, who they are. So not only did we change the narrative about Ghana, but we also changed the narrative about how these African Americans felt once they came back home. They walk different now. There's pride, there's confidence. There's the notion that I didn't come from South Carolina. You know, I came from Ghana, or I came from Cameroon, I came from Nigeria, I came from Kenya, and so we're looking to continue to invite people to go home and to learn about the continent, and to understand that there's riches over there that we cannot imagine. But it's up to us to take ownership of those riches, to collaborate, to work together, to create synergies, because otherwise colonialism has never stopped. it's now going on even more than 300 years ago. If you take France, for instance, France is getting paid $500 billion from 14 countries in Africa. They have the first right of refusal for all of the government contracts and all of the private contracts in those countries. They're continuing to suck Africa dry. And we are the ones who have to change that. So, and it starts with re-educating ourselves about what the continent is. And so we're taking the first steps in that direction.
Now, on the flip side, we talked about you also growing up in Germany, and that kind of that link of I grew up in Germany as well. And you said you take your kids back every year, and they know German. What would you say to parents of dual heritage kids of the importance of that?
Culture is an asset, and being multicultural is an asset. Speaking different languages is an asset. So anytime you have an opportunity to explore that for your children, it's your duty, in my opinion, to do that. What people forget here in this country is that this is not the only country. And this whole ongoing propaganda about this being the greatest country in the world is really what it does. It insulates the country, and it stands alone when we are really a global community made up of many different cultures and many different people of different mentalities, which is a great asset. So what people have to realize is that when your kids grow up and they graduate from college, they don't compete with a child from Delaware or from Pennsylvania or from Florida. They compete with children from China, children from India, children from Kenya, South Africa, Australia. And these kids are much further along than the kids here. So the more we insulate ourselves, the more we're going to be left behind. So when you have an opportunity to travel, when you have an opportunity to invite somebody into your home from a different country, from a different culture, it's an asset, it's an opportunity to learn, it's an opportunity to bridge the gap, sometimes bridge the gap of fear. Our administration has been very successful in widening that gap and making sure that we are deathly afraid of anything that's foreign or different from us. That's all by design, because they want to keep us away from each other. So anytime you can explore different cultures, countries, people, do it.
If you had a magic wand and you could wave it and fix any problem.
Woof. Jesus. This is a responsibility I don't want to have. Wow. Anything I want to fix? If I had a magic wand, I would fix our I think that's beyond fixing. No, you know what I would do, and that president was the result of that issue that I'm about to talk about. I would change, or I would fix, or I would heal, or I would address our complacency, because everything that we're suffering through right now is a result of our complacency. The fact that we think that we as individuals don't have a voice, don't have power, can't do anything. Starts with voting, starts with speaking up about, it begins with speaking up about inequalities, discrimination, things that might befall our neighbor, and we're sitting in our house and we're not saying anything. It makes us complicit. I always say that inequality will never end until those who are not affected by it will start speaking up. And so that's what I would change.
Now, you lost your father in 2016, and you wrote a public goodbye, a touching goodbye. I'm going to read an excerpt. He said, "I miss you already, trying to numb the voices of all the should-haves and could-haves, because they don't matter now. I ask God to make your journey peaceful and joyous. No more pain, no more regrets and guilt. I forgive you, Dad. I love you, and I will honor and remember you forever. Thank you for the time we spent, and thank you for being a great opa to Sophie and Nico. They have memories for a lifetime. Know that you are loved eternally. Now be free and your soul full of joy." How has your relationship with your father shaped you into the man that you are?
I think there's two answers. There's one that represents the first part of our relationship. There's two parts in our relationship. There's one where he left the family, and I felt abandoned and alone, without support. You know, growing up as a black boy in Germany is not the easiest thing to do, and I never had anybody who would protect me, stand behind me, support me. So I sort of had to figure it out. Our relationship wasn't good because he wasn't there. And I carried a lot of resentment and pain, disappointment. But then, 2005, my daughter was born, and she was diagnosed with spina bifida at birth. So when we found out, we were just gobsmacked and shocked and had no idea what was going on. And I called my dad, who's a doctor, and 10 hours later, he was in front of my door. So that's the second part of our relationship, and that's when he jumped in. He was a great grandfather, and he was verbal, and we communicated well. He used to visit a lot. We visited him, and I think those two parts also played a role in how I carry myself, because on the one hand, I always tried to be what he wasn't, because I knew how it made me feel when I was a child, so I wanted to make sure that my children would never, ever experience any of that pain. But then, towards the end of his life, I was able to, because I had long forgiven him, I was able to see him at his core. And at his core, he was a phenomenal man. He was very intelligent, he was very charming, he was very kind, caring, and so I have nothing but really good memories and thoughts about my father.
Now, of your values and of your morals, which are the three that you would say define who you are?
We place so much pressure on our kids to do well in everything we do, because we tend to fall into the trap to try to live vicariously through them and make up for the mistakes that we made. So we put all that pressure on them. So one of the things that I really love about my children is that they're kind. They're kind people. And I value that tremendously in today's world. They care about other people. I like when people are aware and embrace integrity. When, especially nowadays, it's very important. because you got to stand for something. And so integrity, kindness, sense of accountability is important to me, and reliability. So I think it's tough to reduce it to 3. I think there's many qualities that I look to in a person that I respect.
Now we're going to move to some questions to the audience a little bit later, but I want to ask you, what's the top 3 songs on your playlist?
Top 3 songs?
Top 3 songs.
They're all songs that you wouldn't know because they're all Afro beats. They're all from dance hall, African dance hall Afro beats. But I admire Kendrick Lamar. I like people who got something to say. Not a lot of people around, but I like the Kendrick Lamars, the J. Coles, the Jay-Z. Yeah. Drake every once in a while. He gets carried away sometimes. But he's a good guy. I've known him since he was 14, when he had a little Jew fro. He was on Soul Food, actually. He played a high school kid on Soul Food. So he was running around the set when he was 14. Yeah, Aubrey. The way he talks now, he never talked like that. It's a totally different thing. Totally different.
Favorite food?
Wiener Schnitzel.
All right. Favorite movie?
Gotta keep it real. What's that?
Favorite movie?
That's impossible. There's so many movies. I love Braveheart. It's a great movie. I love Braveheart. Did I mention Braveheart? I love Wakanda. I think Wakanda is great. I love Black Panther. Braveheart, Black Panther.
I think we got it.
There's too many. I mean, come on. There's too many movies.
Right. And do you have a favorite quote?
Favorite?
Quote.
I like so many quotes. One of my favorite quotes is Earl Nightingale. He said, I don't want to be wrong. Whenever you feed your subconscious mind fortified with nourishment and emotion, will undoubtedly come to pass. What that means is that we make our reality. It means that what we think will be. So he's talking about the difference between your subconscious and your conscious mind, and how in the first 7 years of your life, your subconscious mind is formed by the paradigms, the influences that your parents and your immediate environment plant in you. And after 7 years, there's a lid on your subconscious mind, and that's it. So now, those are the tools that you're working with for the rest of your life. And when people get stuck, they have an opportunity to replace some of those paradigms in the subconscious mind by introducing new ones. You can't just get rid of a thought. You have to replace the thought with something else. And you have to do it on a continuous basis. It's like practicing anything else, like doing sit-ups or practicing the piano. If you do it once, nothing's going to change. But if you do it consistently over a period of time, you can actually change your life that way. It's something that I've studied for a very long time, and it's helped me tremendously in my life because it's a very effective way how to change your life. A lot of people don't experience happiness, right? Because happiness is not the same thing as joy. Happiness is something that's rooted in your subconscious mind. It's something that was planted in you when you were a child. And if you don't have that, you're starting way back and you're always catching up. So I've learned that you can actually change that by changing your thoughts continuously. Because when you have a thought, it creates an image. And when that image pops up, that then creates an emotion. And that emotion then informs an action. And that action then leads to a result, which is temporary success, some kind of accomplishment, which then affects your thoughts again. So it's like a cycle that keeps going. And it's very effective. Unfortunately, not a lot of people know how to use that for their own benefit. But yeah, Earl Nightingale is my hero.
The last of my questions before we move to the audience. True to yourself. What does it mean to be true to Boris Kodjoe?
True to yourself. I wrote something down. May I read it?
Sure.
Because I was thinking about this. And I wrote a whole lot down, actually. Okay. I wrote down, true to yourself means that everybody in here can be the star of their own movie once they decide to stop being an extra in somebody else's film. You just have to understand that no matter who you are or where you come from, you have the innate ability to write your story. All you have to do is be true to who you are, because you are the only human on this earth who knows exactly what it feels like to be you. And that feeling gives you a power that nobody else has. See, we're so busy trying to conform to public opinion, be like our friends, measure up on social media, that we ignore our secret weapon, which is ourselves. So stop chasing likes and start liking yourself. Want me to read something else? So, here you go. I was saying that about social media because I understand that we live in a time of great technological advances. Most of you will probably at some point use technology that hasn't been invented yet to find a solution to a problem that we have yet to discover. And every day you're forced to deal with cyber attacks and viral clutter. You're assaulted with impressions and notifications day in, day out. You're being DM'd, pinged, tweeted, tagged, texted, and you can't get away. You're told you're too entitled, too spoiled, to appreciate, too lazy to work hard, too desensitized to know passion. Then you're told to follow your passion because money will come. Meanwhile, all over your Instagram feed are 22-year-olds who don't go to school but apparently are taking millions of dollars and traveling to exotic places, tagging their outfits. The search for oneself is real. But that's where faith comes in. And it doesn't matter whether you believe in Jesus Christ, Allah, Buddha, Shiva, Hashem, Krishna, or any other source of strength and love. What matters is that you use that very source to find the courage to first like you, then be you, and be you to the fullest of your imagination, to the biggest of your ambitions, to the wildest of your dreams, and always, no matter what anyone says or what anyone comments on your IG feed, always believe in you. Never apologize for who you are, but celebrate every fabric of your being. Because those who cannot see your light will stay in darkness. And those who see it, they will dance with you.
I think we have some questions from the audience.
Questions? Oh, we got a raffle going? Oh.
If your question is read, if you will stand up.
Also, if you have another question based on what we just talked about, which you couldn't have known before, you can ask that too. I just changed the rules. Directions? Oh, I was hogging a mic. All right. Question number one. BB King? No. Becky Kirby. Is Becky here? Becky. Becky with the good hair. There she is. Hello, Becky. She asks, is there a possibility you will help form a company for aspiring actors in the future? What would be the revenue model for that? Becky? It wasn't. What would that look like in your imagination? A company for aspiring actors. What are we selling? What are we doing? What are we making? What are we doing? I'm sorry? Oh, okay. So like a mentorship situation. Got you. Well, we're going back to Africa, and we're taking a bunch of inner city kids that we're sponsoring, and we're building mentorships with those kids and with entertainers that we're bringing. So we're sort of putting them together with people in the industry so they can get their feet wet. No, this is everywhere. We're going to start a contest soon. We're going to announce it soon, and people can write in and tell us why they want to be a part of this journey, the pilgrimage to go back, and we're going to pick 50 winners. Trust me, you will hear it. We'll announce it. We'll be all over the place. Thank you, Becky. This is fun. Is that you, Becky? No, that's not Becky. Oh my God. That's not Becky. Yeah, no. Wow. I was like, how did she get a camera that quick? You gotta watch out for Becky. Lillian Truesdell. La française. Ouais, d'accord. Okay, how do you know you're on the right path? Good question. I kind of sort of answered it in so many words, but I think that we're distracted a lot with social media. We're distracted because we're focused on other people's lives on a daily basis. We're spending hours and hours scrolling through other people's lives when we should put that time and effort into ourselves. So I think it's very important that you focus on your own path and that you walk that path not according to what you think other people want you to do, but according to what you feel and what you want to do and how you want to do it, because it's your life. I said it earlier, you have to write your own script and you have to be the star in your own movie. Don't worry about these other people. And it'll come naturally. You will find out your path, you will find out your purpose, you will find out your legacy. All that stuff comes with focusing on who you are and not the person that's sitting next to you, who's holding up a phone, taping everything. Live in the moment, woman. What, are you going to tape me and then look at it later? I'm right here. Jesus. Let me miss that moment so I can look at it later. Okay. The memories are here, babe. Right here. Daphne. Nope, that's not Daphne. Darlene. Darlene. Hi, baby. There you are. Do you remember your question? Okay, what is it? Okay, what interested me in becoming an actor? Actually, it was by default. After college, I was in New York visiting my sister who was working as a production assistant. And it's very cliche. I was what is it called? I was discovered by a modeling agent from the Ford modeling agency. And I started modeling right away and traveling around the world, but I still couldn't speak English correctly. I still had this really thick German accent, so people would be surprised when they see me because they expected me to sound like Denzel, but I sounded like a German soldier. So it was really bugging me, and so I went to acting class, because in acting class you learn how to enunciate, you learn how to speak properly, you do breathing exercises and so forth. So I went to acting class to learn how to speak English. And that's what led then to opportunities. And one of the things that are sort of a lesson that I learned from tennis, I guess, is that I've always been ready for whatever. So the true definition of success is when preparation meets opportunity. And I'm always ready. I always got my sneakers tied. And I was able to take advantage of those opportunities. Thank you, darling. Michelle Chillis. Hey, you won a fruit basket. No. What book on books are you currently reading? Actually, I'm reading How to Kill a Mockingbird. I'm reading that. Actually, my daughter is in New York right now with my wife, and they're actually watching it right now on Broadway. So that's what I'm reading. Abi Kolawole. Where's Abi? Abi, where are you from? Charlie, Nigeria. Gangsters. We're going to have a Jollof war. Whose Jollof is better? Okay. Now, get out of here. Okay, what app? Is that correct? What? Oh, you scruggled it out. Okay. What is the advice you would give to young men today? Oh, you got your 3 sons with you? Let me see. Get up. Get up, 3 sons. There we go. Give them a hand. Wow. That's a whole panel discussion in itself. I think our young men are targets. I think our young men are victims of objectification. I think they have it really tough. I have a young son myself who's 12 years old. And I think the most important thing we can do for our sons is to love them up all the time. Because when you love them up all the time, they will have confidence. They will have confidence to face the challenges that they will undoubtedly face in their life. There's so many terrible myths and wrong narratives and stereotypes about especially young black men in this country. And the only way to counteract that is by, embracing them collectively as a village, because it's our responsibility to raise them. We talk about the Me Too movement. We talk about victimizing women. Nobody ever talks about how to educate the men in the picture. Because when we do educate the men and we tell them how to handle various situations and how to carry themselves, and that they don't have to I'm missing the English word again, with a C, C-O. No, they don't. Oh, they don't have to compensate for all these stereotypes by being more aggressive or more assertive. That it's really the opposite. They can be kind, and they can be settled in their manhood without having to prove anything. When we feel comfortable enough to raise them up and to give them love, I think we raise stronger, more confident men, and at the same time, we protect our women. Yvonne Kingston. Hi, Yvonne. I'm good. How are you? Why is your voice shaking? How do you balance your work and family? I think I answered that, right? Priorities. Yes. Dominique Bacon. Dominique. Is it Dominique? Got you. Could you have written any smaller than this? I mean, and I'm going to try and read this. What advice do you have for black men who aspire to be in the industry? I think I answered that as well. I think just try to educate yourself in a three-dimensional way to understand the business before you go out there. Another gentleman just asked me about how he can grow as an actor, as a performer, when he lives here in North Carolina. There's two ways to do it. Either you move, or you form your own theater groups and collectives, and you work together, you create synergies and produce your own stuff. Listen, you don't need a studio or a network to produce content. All you need is a phone. Any questions you might have, you go on YouTube, you find the answers. I'm serious. And we've done that at Viacom. We've given phones to students of HBCU schools, and they filmed they made their own movies every week. Cut them together and send them in. So don't let the local limitations be a limitation on your path. A limitation on your path. You can do whatever you want. You don't need anybody, really, to do what you want to do. All right. Lenny. There she is. Hi, Lenny. You want to ask me a question? I still don't know. No? Oh, sorry. She wanted to know how I knew that the career I chose was the right one for me. And I said, I still don't know. Because again, it's a journey. And I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I could, I own a couple of companies and we have a foundation and I met with the ambassador of the African Union yesterday and I might go to Africa for 6 months and do something completely different. I think the key is to be open, to be flexible, to embrace opportunity, while at the same time you're dreaming. And obviously I understand responsibility, but I think when you become too rigid and too stuck on one thing, and you have sort of a tunnel vision, it's good to focus on one thing for a little bit. But what happens when you put on these blinders, all these other opportunities, they're like buses that go by and you miss them, right? So I like to be open. I like to see everything and take in everything and talk to everybody and learn from everybody and see what happens. Bless you. Or was it just delight? It was just delight. Jana Manning? Is it Jana? Jana. Sorry, Jana. What was your question? Okay. We have a apparel business. We have a custom suit, shirt business. Stand up. What are you, high-fiving Yana? Really? You're high-fiving her for the question? That's hilarious. But, you know what the single most important lesson that I learned from being in business is that whenever you are in service, you are successful. So when your business benefits as many people as possible, for whatever reason, you become successful. When you make it about self, you are isolating yourself from great opportunities. My wife started a business called the Gym Wrap, which basically, yeah, you can clap. Which started because she got very frustrated when we had a meeting with the Surgeon General at the time. And the Surgeon General told us that 75% of women in this country were overweight or obese. And that the single biggest reason for that was that women had to make a choice between their hair and their health. And my wife couldn't understand that. She was so frustrated about that. She said, why do we have to choose between beauty and health? Why can't we be beautiful and healthy at the same time? And so she sat in our kitchen and she came up with this product called a Gym Wrap. There was a 3-layered headband that would wick away moisture, protect your edges, so you could work out and go to work the same day. You didn't have to choose between your hairdo and being healthy. So she developed this product by herself with absolute service in mind. She wanted to help women, and she wanted to help women stay healthy, and that's why it became so successful. And now she's in over 4,000 retailers. She's doing really well. Oh, it's called thegymwrap.com. Gymwrap.com. And it's in Walmart, it's in Target, it's in Sally Beauty Supply stores, CVS, Walgreens, everywhere. Yeah. Carmen Rose, you made up that name, come on. Oh, Lord, see, everybody. Is that your AKA? That's a beautiful name. Carmen. Carmen Rose. Okay, you were asking who was your inspiration growing up and how did they influence you in your life? Is that right? Whew. Again, I grew up in Germany. I was the only black boy with my brother. We were the only two black kids in our street, in our town, in our state, pretty much anywhere. So we were bullied every single day, you know, wrong hair, wrong skin color, wrong names. And my father wasn't there, so we were sort of left to fend for ourselves. My mother's white, and she tried her hardest to let us know that we were perfect the way we were and that we shouldn't listen to ignorant people. But that kind of gets old because it goes on every single day, walking to school, coming home, playing sports. They would call me names while I was playing sports, like negakus and stuff like that, which was really derogatory words for a black boy. And I had a tennis coach, actually, who was only about 10 years older than me, but he became sort of my role model in how to conduct yourself, how to let the stuff sort of drip off your shoulders and not give them energy, but to be steadfast and confident in who I was and know that I had the right to be exactly who I was, and I didn't have to conform to anybody else's perceptions of me. So I would say he was very instrumental in me being somewhat level-headed and going, you know, creating my path. Yep. Carmen Rose. Kiara. Hey. I think I already answered your question. Okay, go ahead. Oh, you know, modeling at the time served the purpose. It was a great opportunity for me out of college to travel the world, make some money, meet a lot of people. But it's not a very challenging occupation, you know what I mean? So acting is definitely more fulfilling, and also acting leads to directing, writing, and producing, and these are all things that I'm doing now, so definitely acting. Thank you. Denise Grant. Nope, Denise Gant. All right, hey, Denise. What's up? Good, how are you? The right answer? What do you mean? Is it a test? Who has been your favorite actress to work with this far in your career? Okay. Cynthia Douglas. Hi, Cynthia. She asks, what skyrocketed your career? I'm still waiting for the skyrocket. There's no such thing as a skyrocket. It doesn't happen. You know, there's no such thing as overnight success. There's so much that goes into it. I mean, my good friend Kevin Hart is a great example. Everybody thinks, oh my God, he just went like this. I remember when he was sleeping on our couch. When we were trying to find jackets for him so he can go to an audition, right? So, and that was, you know, it takes a while, but it just shows, you know, with faith, with resilience, hard work, you will walk your path and you will experience the highs and the lows, and hopefully the highs outweigh the lows, but, you know, even the lows are, you know, they're learning experiences. And without the lows, there are no highs. Did that just make sense? All right. Elizabeth. What do you mean, yes? You're going to ask a question? Everybody gets up and says hi, and you're just sitting down. And... What's that? Jesus Christ. All right, sit down. All right. All right. She wants me to comment on Jussie Smollett. Let's just wait. All right? Let's just wait. I mean, what I can say is that it's very unfortunate. All across the board. So let's just wait what happens. Pray for him. Mrs. Sunny 104.5. What? Oh, okay. You got your own radio station?
Yes, I do.
Oh, wow.
Every Monday through Friday, 10 to 3. Streaming sometimes.
Okay. Mrs. Sunny is in the house. And she's asking, as a person of color facing many obstacles on an everyday basis, how do you continue to stay motivated, persistent in endeavors on a day-to-day basis? You use day-to-day basis, you use twice. Again, my motivation comes from those who I love, those who love me. My family gives me enough motivation for 3 lifetimes. You know, when you have children, you want to do everything for them, and they truly, truly motivate me because I believe they're my legacy. It's not about a movie or a TV show, it's about them. And it's about how I raised them to be self-thinking, kind humans who are responsible and who are passionate. So that's all the motivation I need. Ooh, we got the last question. Last question comes from Jill Patrick. Jill. Hey. Representing the motherland. I like it. What has been your favorite role as an actor to date? What did you learn about yourself from that part that you played? Again, every part is different. I think the part that stands out was when I played Brick in Cat on the Hot Tin Roof on Broadway, because it was such a stretch from where I came from to play that character who was such a classic character in such a classic play, that it took all of me to bring that out. And to have that experience or to share that experience with James Earl Jones and Felicia Rashad, and Debbie Allen was the director, was just absolutely phenomenal. So I think that that role definitely stands out. Every role is special. But if you ask me about any of the movies or TV shows, every single one of them had a purpose on my journey. And looking forward, there will be more. There will be more characters who have just as significant of roles and purposes on my journey. Hopefully, it'll be a long one. Thank you.
Who was the young lady? Stand up. He said he'll take your question.
You got to stand up. Hi, Baruka. I think a good mentor is someone who you connect with personally, in terms of the character that they have, the personality they have, and if it vibes with you. We're all about energy, and you're going to attract certain people to you because of who you are. And you're also going to reflect people who are not good for you. And sometimes you should listen to that instead of trying forcefully to keep them in your life. We do that. We do that all the time, you know, and especially when we're going through stuff, when we're exhibiting some of these characteristics that are really detrimental to our own development, we hold on to it. And what happens is that energy then attracts the people who have the same issues, right? So in terms of mentors, you got to start with yourself. You know, you got to be right first. You got to take care of yourself first, because only if you take care of yourself, you love yourself, you clean yourself, you heal yourself, only then can you attract people who will be beneficial to your life. And that works with relationship the same exact way. You know, I hear a lot of women out there complaining all the damn time. Ain't no man around, ain't no good man around. It's really not true, okay? Sorry to break the news, but it's not true. What is true, hold on to your seats. What is true is that you failed to look into the mirror, and you failed to do the work that you need to do to be right with who you are, with who you're supposed to be, right? My mother's a psychologist, and she said this thing that stuck with me. She was talking about women who are looking for their soulmates. And so in order to help, she said, look, you have to take a sheet of paper, and you have to write down every single aspect you see in your soulmate, and the man of your dreams, and the person you want to be with for the rest of your life. Write down everything. The way he walks, the way he smells, what he says, what he does, where he goes, what he looks like, what he wears. Write down absolutely everything. And you have to visualize that man, right? You read through it over and over, and you visualize this guy, you visualize it. And then you ask yourself the following question. Would this guy date me? So if the answer is no, you got a lot of work to do. And you should do it, right? You want to maximize your potential, right? You got to do the work. Because when you do the work, you will be rewarded immediately, because it's physics, law of attraction. The energy you put out will come back to you. So when you're right, when you're strong, when you're spiritual, when you're right in your mind, you will attract the same person to you. It's really that simple. So stop projecting, stop reflecting, Go inwards and start here. Start healing first. Start fixing yourself. Be the best you can be, and then that person will magically come through the door. I promise you, it really works that way. When I met my wife on Soul Food, first day, table read, I met her first time. And we worked together for a whole year, and I was like, I'm in trouble. I knew. I was like, ah. So I went to therapy for 9 months. Not a joke. I went to therapy for 9 months because I knew I wasn't ready for her. I knew that I was going to mess it up. So I had to come clean first. I had to figure out the patterns that I had developed being in all these relationships. I had to figure out my responsibility in the failure of these relationships so that I wouldn't carry that over with her. So I figured it out. It's physics. It's the truth. That's how it works. So don't complain about these men that are not there. Go to work.
All right, Fayetteville, let's give Boris Kodjoe a hand. We can do better than that. Again, on behalf of Fayetteville that's here in Cumberland County, we certainly appreciate you being here and taking time out of your busy schedule and answering the questions.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.